Hello, I'm Atch, and welcome to part 3 of this montage tutorial that I'm doing, the Yamaha Montage. In this tutorial, we're going to be doing the basic programming of an AWM2 part, which consists of 8 elements. We're going to start from our landing page, which has the factory presets on it for the live set. And of course, this sounds like this one sounds like this. Very nice. And we're going to hit category search in it, select AWM2, and go back to our performance page. And here we are with this piano sound. Now, we want to get into the nuts and the bolts of the element editing page, so we're going to go ahead and hit the name button where it says Init Normal AWM2. You'll notice that the tab comes on the left here. Click Edit, and this is your landing page. Now, a little bit about some of these things here. Now, common. Common applies to all of your elements. Now, before we go any further, the distinction should be made about these elements. All right, it's the easiest way for me to understand it is to think about these elements as oscillators on a traditional analog synthesizer, which is basically what they are. So if you come over here to 1 and you click on 1, you'll see up here at the top it has a preset number 1 piano, and that's what it sounds like. So it's easiest to think about this thing, and also they say oscillator tune. So it's easier to think about this thing as each part has essentially 8 oscillators that you can load a wavetable in, and there's thousands and thousands of different waves that you can load into it. And not only that, each one of the elements or oscillators has its own individual pitch envelope generator, filters with filter EG, amps with amp EG, LFOs. It's insane. So it's like having an 8 oscillator synth that has each oscillator has its own individual EG stuff, and you can see where it gets a little bit crazy. We're not going to talk too much in this tutorial about XA control and element groups and stuff like that, but what we will touch on is your coarse and your fine tune, your note limit, which basically, if wherever you want your element to sound, say if we want it to be, let's go C2, well C3 it looks like. So the bottom limit is going to be C3. Anything below it's not going to sound. Of course, I can come over to another element and then, set up my different octaves and stuff. And then, of course, if I only wanted everything above it to G8, it's going to sound. If I only wanted one octave, I just set this to C4. And then anything above C4 is not going to sound. So that's how you set the note limit on each of your element pages. So you can have an element on a particular octaves or key or however you want to do it. There's a lot of versatility here. So what I want to do is make like a basic kind of saw wave, right? So come over here to element 1, and when you hit it, you'll notice that a little green light will light up down here at the bottom there. That means that one's active. So if any other elements have sounds on them, they'll light up green whenever you hit the button. Obviously off, it doesn't play. And then over here, of course, your coarse tune, you can change where it goes and the direction it goes and stuff like that. Fine tune, pitch. Random's pretty neat because if you had it all the way up, it's very random. Or you can put it kind of low to get some slop, like an old analog type style synthesizer. Come over to your bank number, category, subcategory name, and hit that. Over to the left, hit search, and then I'm looking for a saw wave, so I think there it is, saw. I select syn lead, which is short for synthesizer lead, and I'm assuming that my synthesizer is going to be like square and the traditional analog sound waves, and this is what this sounds like. Saw. Well, that doesn't really sound like much of a saw to me. It sounds more like a saw with kind of a pulse wave in it. So I'm going to try this OB saw maybe. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a saw. Okay, so there we have it. We have a saw wave. Now, the thing to remember is that I can put all these saws. I can make a super saw. Let's do that, for example. So I'll come over here to number 2 and do the same thing. I'll hit where the name is at, hit search, synth lead, OB saw, part 3, search, synth lead, OB saw, part 4, search, synth lead, OB saw, part, let's see, well, we already got OB saw there. So part 5, hit the name button, search, synth lead, OB saw, 6, search, synth lead, OB saw. This, I mean, it's gonna be crazy. You already know. 7, synth lead, OB saw. Part 8, synth lead, OB saw. And now we have 8 sawtooth waves kind of stacked. Now the thing about it is, if you'll notice, now that I have all 8 of them set up and I hit it, we're still only getting the number 1 oscillator saw is sounding. You have to come over here to all, and if you look here by SW, you can turn them all on so that they're all sounding, or however many you want sounding, or whatever. Or you can hit mute to each one of them, or solo to each one of them. So now we have one that sounds like this. It's very hot. Let me turn it down, because there's a lot of saw waves there. Okay, so I can either, I'm going to leave sawtooth 1 at 0, and then I can come over here to 2 and detune it by 5, and then 3 go down by 5, maybe 4 go up to 10, and 5 go down to 10. Or I can hit all, and let's see, where it says OSC, there's another tab underneath it that says balance, and I can adjust my fine tune there. So I'll do plus 13 on 6, minus 13 on 7, and plus 17 on number 8, and it should be pretty fat sound. It's huge. So I think I'm going to stop here for this tutorial, because it just kind of gives you an idea of what you can do sound wise by just loading in the different wavetables on the different elements to get a sound. Now bear in mind, whenever I come back up here, this sound is basically a supersaw. Now if I hold it here, I can hit copy, and I can put it to part 2. You see? Now I have 2 supersaws with 16 different oscillators, and then I can come into part 2 and edit it, and then come over to my all sections here and go to balance, and then I can change the offset by different numbers. So that way it'll be even fatter. It's just crazy how big you can make a sound on this thing. Or I can uptune them. I'll do an uptune by 1 octave, and then a downtune by 1 octave. Up 1 octave, down 1 octave. Or I can hold it here. Let's see, double tap it, and then I can enter minus 12. I can come over here and double tap it, and I can enter 12. So you can see, and I'm just going to put in 12, and I'll turn it down to 12. So now part 2, when I come back up here to my normal AWM2 page, I have one that's on the note that I hit, and then I have another that's detuned by course. It's ridiculous. And I can take this further and copy part 2 to part 3 and do it again. Hit edit, Let's really fine tune it. Make it huge. Just throw it all over the place. Ridiculous. And I can do that up to 8 times. So that's it for this tutorial. I think on the next tutorial I'll discuss EG settings and different things like that. But I think as far as the basics, we pretty much have that down for the AWM2. A lot of it is up to you to discover your creativity in this machine. I'm going to go over the basics of EGs within AWM2 on the next tutorial, and then we'll start delving into the FMX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.